Hey, I'm back, and today I thought I'd do a follow-up on modal harmony. So in my previous videos I explained what it was, I showed you some chord progressions, and I went through all 7 modes of the major scale. If you haven't checked that out, please do so. But today I actually want to talk about how to use this in the context of songwriting. So now that you know these things, how do you put it together in a song? The easiest and most basic way to do this is just take a chord progression or a chord and just play it through the whole song or through most of the song. I know this seems really simple, but there are lots of hit songs that do this. For example, Miles Davis's So What or John Coltrane's Impressions. I don't know if those are hit songs, but they're good songs. They're historically important. Anyways, what these do is they take maybe chordal voicings, which I also did a video on, check that out, and they play these chordal voicings emphasizing D Dorian. So it's just something like this. And they'll play this over and over again, and just to break up the monotony, sometimes they'll switch to E flat Dorian. So it just moves up a half step. So this is a really easy thing to do if you want to, compose a modal song. Doing something like this is, simple. And you can do it with any mode. You don't have to use Dorian, you can use Lydian. And so in this case, they used an AABA format. This is a really common jazz form. So the A section would be all D Dorian. The next A section, also D Dorian. The B section is your E flat Dorian, and your A section goes back to D Dorian. But you don't even have to use Dorian. You can use Lydian or whatever. And you can make your B section completely different modality or key, whatever you want. You don't have to use Dorian. You can use whatever you want. And just whatever you feel like doing. And that's an easy way to do it. Another example of a song that does this, that's very popular, is The Freak by Chic. So in this song, it's just 2 chords. It's a normal Dorian progression. I believe it's in A Dorian. So it's just something like... So as I showed you in the Dorian video, it's just A minor 7, and then it goes to D major. It's very easy. It's just really funky. I know it seems like, this is going to get boring after a while. But if you're worried about playing the same chords over and over again, try things like changing the drum pattern, changing the rhythms, add instruments. I think they're using violins in there too. Try different riffs. So you can really mix it up even if you're using the same 2 chords over and over again. It doesn't have to be boring and monotonous. I mean, that's a #1 hit. Lots of people like it. I like it. So don't think that just because you're using 2 chords, your song has to be boring. Now let's move on to some other songs that are a little bit more complicated. So instead of just using the same chords for a long time, you can switch them up. One that's kind of in between a really complex song and a simple song is Flying in a Blue Dream by Joe Satriani. So it starts off in B Lydian. So if we see here, the first chord is B over, it should be, C sharp over B, so like this. And then it moves down to B. And they just play it in a rhythm like this. So this repeats over and over again quite a few times, and then it moves to this. Moves back to B Lydian. Then finally, it moves to F sharp Lydian. Then to E Lydian. Back to B Lydian. If you haven't heard this song, I'll post something here so you can actually listen to it yourself. You can hear how he does it and how he mixes up the form. But by changing this, it gives a little bit more interest to the song, so you're not playing the same thing every time. And although I could probably analyze this using modal interchange, I don't think he's using modal interchange to think about this. I think he's just thinking, I like this sound, and I'll move it around to different, keys or modalities, etc. So he starts with B, then moves down to G, goes back to B, then moves to F sharp, then moves to E, back to B. And so you can do the same thing. If you have something you really like I really like the sound of these two chords, try moving them around. And if you do this, you kind of give different sections and you give a different feel while maintaining that floating feeling. In the video, Joe Satriani says, I kind of wanted that feeling of childhood or flying. And so you can do that and you can change chords, but you don't have to change the feel. So try that yourself. Hopefully that helps you. Another one that is also a hit song, probably the biggest hit on here, is Sweet Child of Mine. So everybody knows this song. I don't want to explain it. It's a Guns N' Roses song. Check that out here if you aren't familiar or you need a refresher. But basically, let me go over some of the chords. So I believe the first chord is D flat major, B flat major, or sorry, not B flat, B major, then G flat major. So as you heard, the root chord sounds like this. This D flat. So this is not actually major, it's mixolydian. So in the mixolydian video, I went over this progression. It's a really common one. It kind of gives a down-home feeling, but still kind of happy. And so it's really common. So they use that for most of the, the verse section. And then as it moves into the chorus, it does something a little bit different, but basically the same thing. I believe it's B, G flat, D flat. So something like this. So it's just a variation of the same thing, but you can hear it's still in that D flat mixolydian. Now, let's talk about the solo. The solo mixes things up. It goes from the D flat mixolydian to E flat minor. So if you look, they're both in the same key. So E flat minor and D flat mixolydian. They have the exact same notes. They both come from G flat major, I believe. So all they're doing is changing the modality while keeping the same notes, or the same, tonality. So here we go. It's basically E minor goes to B major, B flat minor, A minor. A flat minor, sorry about that. And one more time. E flat minor, B major, B flat minor, A flat minor. And they do the solo through that. I know there's probably people complaining, why did you use B and B flat minor? It should be, C sharp minor. Please, leave your complaints about inharmonic spellings below. I'm a little bit lazy, so I just wrote it out using a probably incorrect notation. But if you play it, it'll sound all right. So that's the solo section, and he plays a E flat minor solo over it, and this gives you kind of a different feeling. If you hear it, you hear like the change in tone between the verse, the chorus, and the solo section. It sounds like a complete change of tone and feel, even though all the notes they're playing are the same. So that's one of the great things about modal harmony. It gives you that kind of power to change the tone of your songs. But now let's talk about the ending section, where it goes there. So this one, it seems similar at first. The chords are E flat minor, G flat major, A flat major, now B major, and D flat major. So this first part here, E flat minor, G flat, A flat, that's actually a Dorian progression. Somewhat common one. But strange part is this part, the B major, D flat major. So basically what they're doing is that he starts, or whoever wrote this, they start in E flat Dorian, and then they switch to E flat Aeolian at the end. So E flat Dorian, that's the Aeolian at the end. Very common in hard rock and heavy metal, those two chords, like this progression. Check out my video on Aeolian harmony if you want to learn more about that chord progression. But basically, they're just mixing the two together, and it kind of creates an interesting feel, so you don't have that, common chord progression that you might have heard over and over again. Now, let's talk about one that's a little bit more complex. So this is a jazz song. It's a very popular one called Inner Urge. So this one is made by Joe Henderson. I believe he wrote this. It's, I don't know if it's a standard, but people play this often, and now it's used by many, not only jazz artists, but fusion artists also. It's a really great song. If you haven't heard it, check it out. But let me go over the chords for you. This song's a little bit fast, so I'll put everything on the screen so you can read it. Here we go. That's it basically. Probably not the best job on sight reading it off the page. But as you can hear, there's lots of different chords in there. But basically what it's doing is it's going through lots of Lydian chords. So the basic chord they're using over and over again is just this. So here I'm playing a C major 7 sharp 11. So it plays this in lots of different keys. So like I said, the first one is just an F sharp minor 7 flat 5. That's not a Lydian chord, but that's kind of a Locrian chord. But it starts off really dark like this. Then it moves to F major 7 sharp 11, like that. And then it goes down by whole steps. So F major 7 sharp 11, E flat major 7 sharp 11, D flat major 7 sharp 11. And it does that, each of those are 4 bars. And now it starts to pick up the harmonic rhythm and go faster. So instead of 4 bars for each chord, it's 1 bar for each chord. So it goes E major 7 sharp 11, D flat major 7 sharp 11, D major 7 sharp 11, B major 7 sharp 11, C major 7 sharp 11, A major 7 sharp 11, and then one strange chord, B flat 7, I don't know why that's there, and then G major 7, although it could be sharp 11. I don't know. Probably it's better. Leave it as it is. G major 7. And then it goes back to that. If you don't know about this song, check it out. I'll leave a link below. One of my good friends named Daisuke Kunita. Here's a video of him playing it with his band. I think I was actually at this show, so maybe you can see my head someplace there. Anyways, he doesn't play the melody until the end, but you can hear him playing over the song, and you can hear the bass player outlining the chords. So listen to that. He's a really good player, good fusion player. But let's analyze this and see what it's doing. So like I said, it moves down after the initial F sharp major 7 flat 7. It moves down in whole steps. And then it gets to the faster part where it goes here, E, D flat, D, B flat. So basically what they're doing is they're just moving in minor third down, major or minor second up, minor third down, major second up. So just or if I can do it even higher. But you can do this if you're writing your own songs. Do it however you like. You can use that kind of progression. You can use any kind of symmetrical thing. You can go down in half steps. You can go down in whole steps. You can go down in a major third, up a minor second. Whatever kind of symmetrical thing you do, but it'll sound good because the chords are the same, so it kind of gives it, it brings it together, even though it really shouldn't go together. It sounds good though, so check out this song for yourself. It's really challenging harmonically, but it's also challenging to play itself. It's really fun to play, and I think you'll have some fun with it. So if you don't know that, check it out. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed that video, please remember to thumbs it up, check out some of my other videos below, and don't forget, subscribe. Thanks. Bye.